Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the State of the YouTube podcast, your favorite bullshit hour. I am your host, Mumkey Jones, joined as always by Mr. Rusty Cage.
Yes, sir. Hello, everybody.
And we've got two very special guests from YouTube here today, Mr. Mauler and Rags. Say hello.
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 Now, Mauler you might recognize for his very deep, sexy, soothing Wales accent. Just because people always complain they don't know who's talking when, so I want to introduce each guest by their voice.
I'll be the most individual here, being British and all.
And Rags, you said you hail from the South. Is that right?
I do. I come from the land down under, the north.
Arkansas.
Yeah, Rusty, you're even more South than any of us.
Yeah, I'm the southern state of Florida.
Deep in the heart of possum country.
That's
Absolutely.
right. Opossum, where I'm from. Now, Mauler and Rags, they hit us up in the comments of our Quentin Reviews episode because they said that they're really big fans and supporters of Quentin Reviews and they wanted to come on. And
we're here to defend his honor.
That's right. But first, before we go into that, Mauler, I gotta say, I've been watching your videos about Star Wars lately, about the new movies, and I have to disagree with you. You dislike the character of Holdo, and you think that she should have told Oscar Isaac the plan. Let me tell you, and I don't think anybody's told you this before, let me tell you why you are wrong. Holdo is a strong, independent woman who don't need no man, is the thing.
Did you ask her gender? Did you? This is offensive that you would actually assume that immediately. Did you ask her?
Well,
I should say they. Did you ask they?
Quentin Reviews.
I
Hey,
talk to Laura Dern regularly, and she's offended by everyone assuming that.
Oh no. Quentin Reviews. What'd you guys have to say about Quentin Reviews? Boy, I just got cuckmated over here.
Oh, and Rags, your videos are great.
That's the end of the
too.
podcast.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what's your take on, because you weren't in the podcast with him, right? So how did you find it from listening yourself?
Oh my God, I was bored to fucking tears. I was really in there just as a moderator, and it was really long and just a lot of just backpedaling and just woe is me is the impression I got.
I was actually
Everyone's
glad
picking on me for what I said.
I was glad that my YouTube channel was deleted the day before, so I had an excuse to not be on that shit podcast.
I thought that would have made it great.
He seemed slippery when I was listening to it. Like it was tough to nail him down on quotes and stuff because there was a lot, like you said, backpedaling. Like you take a quote from him and then he's like, "What? It's not okay to criticize." It's like that's
right. So so in one aspect, he's saying that all these other YouTubers should be held accountable for and not even given a sense of like nuance whenever they're saying something and saying it as a joke. But whenever he does it, everyone should know that it's a joke and should stop taking it so seriously.
One rule for me, one rule for thee.
Right.
Well, it's funny because we're almost like Quentin's sort of dirty little secret. He doesn't like to recognize that me and Rags exist.
Why is that?
Well, the thing he did in relation to us is a lot less, I don't know, publicized, you could call it, because it's not even near controversial compared to like all the political statements he's been making. But
which is kind of strange because you could say that would you say that what he did to us in that video kind of started it off or got things kicked off?
I mean, it's interesting that we like had a huge problem with that, and then it only took, what was it, like a month until like everything started to fucking spiral for him in terms of like
the timeline was very convenient.
Wait. So he called you out in a video that he made?
So this is complicated, right? Talk about unweaving a web. So you got I Hate Everything made a video in favor of the Last Jedi. Rags responded to it, and then the Right Opinion responded to Rags with cameos from Quentin, and he talked about me and Rags.
Okay, so Quentin was in a cameo in a response to a response video on the Right Opinion
about
channel.
some shitty movie.
See,
God, I love the commentary community.
And then
you got it.
me and Rags responded to that in a podcast, 2 podcasts that lasted
3.
12 hours until, well, the third one. See, in the first two, we just pulled out all the things that they were fucking up about our videos, like all the things, like just misrepresentations, false information, blah blah blah. And we collected quite a few pieces of information. They're all still up if anyone wants to see them. But
Yeah, about 11 hours between the two
Jesus.
podcasts that we devoted to that response, because it was dense.
And so we had the right opinion on the next podcast then to just talk about, we basically address all these issues. And we got some really interesting answers from him. Not the least of which was we gave him a quote from Quentin that was just not even remotely like the truth, let's say. And then
Okay.
the right opinion pulls up his script and he's like, "No, Quentin didn't say that. He said this." And then we were like, "No, he didn't." And then we were like, "He did not give you, like, when he provided his script, he didn't give you the same script that he actually recorded." And so the
Oh,
right opinion.
shit.
Like, I don't know if you know this, but the right opinion has his own script. He records it. He sends his audio then to editors who create his video and piece it together, and then he puts it out. I'm assuming he gives it a watch before he puts it out. But the fact is that Quentin
Doesn't
kind
seem
of,
to be the case.
well, not in this video certainly. Like, Quentin got a bunch of shit past TRO, like because it was written differently in the script, which is really funny because it's just like that doesn't seem
What the
honest.
fuck? So the right opinion seemingly didn't even watch this video before he put it out to realize that. So he's just going, "Oh, well, yeah, no, that's not what I wrote for Quentin to say," even though he didn't say it in the video.
I
But it was
think
weird,
the
he-
right opinion clearly placed an amount of trust into Quentin that seems to have been, in hindsight, an unwise decision.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we can get you a specific example, right? So you know Porgs, the wonderful Porgs of the Last Jedi. Those little, like, I don't even know what you'd
Love me
say,
some
penguins
porgs, okay.
crossed with something else.
Right.
Puffins.
So I Hate Everything says they're much better than Ewoks because Ewoks affect the plot, while Porgs are completely irrelevant to the plot, so they're not as bad. And Rag's response is, I prefer that they would affect the plot. That makes them more interesting, and they're there for a reason as opposed to just marketing or whatever. And so
Those are clearly the shittiest characters in that movie.
I
and
don't know. An argument can be made.
I was interested
Okay.
in their arc. It was a good arc. But then you go the right opinion response to Rags saying that that's a fair point, and we don't know, what I Hate Everything would say about that in response. There's a discussion there to be had. And then it goes to Quentin. And so you've got all the information you need now, and this is how Quentin assesses the situation. He says, so Rags says that if a movie sells a toy, it is objectively without value. And
So
then
he
we were
jumps
both
to
watching it
the
like, what?
he jumps to
That
the
caught us off
farthest
guard.
conclusion possible.
Yeah, that was legitimately surprising. I think we were a little dumbfounded by that.
And so we
the
gave it
the
to the
idea
right
that I
opinion.
could say Porgs are worse than Ewoks because Porgs are clearly just there for the merchandise, whereas Ewoks have at least have an impact on the story and the plot. How that got translated somehow, or I'm not even going to say translated, maliciously misrepresented into Rags thinks that if something makes money or if they sell toys for it, because Quentin had a little spiel about the history toy museum, the toy history museum.
Yeah, he was implying Rags
cinema
knows
and stuff.
nothing about the history of merchandise, and it's like, this isn't even his point, like, at all.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I that was extremely dishonest of him to do.
It's like
but
Quentin is
it's
playing a game of telephone with himself.
kind of.
And it went through
And-
8 different iterations until he got some crazy mutated version of what happened.
And the right opinion, like, pulls up his script live, and he, like, reads out Quentin's section on that very bit, and me and Rags are just like, that's not what he said, though. And the right
Did
opinion's
you
like, but
were you able to play back the video on the
Oh, you did.
podcast?
he didn't, like, I told him we could pull it up, and he was just like, no, I believe you. And we were like, okay, but it is 1 to
'Cause it's a
1. I
lot-
had the
it
quote down in preparation for it.
Yeah, there's a lot
Right.
of footage to go through. But that wasn't exactly an isolated event. Quentin, pretty much every time Quentin's face popped up in that video, it was a straw man. It was a
Well,
non sequitur.
should we-
It was something completely irrelevant to what we were discussing.
Should we tell him about the best one? The one where
Yeah,
no,
definitely.
I-
Don't keep the best one from us.
I thought the
so,
Porg was
like,
the- yeah, go ahead.
oh, the Porg one is second best as far as I'm concerned. So there's a clip from Rags where he's talking about the throne room fight, and he
Oh,
says
yeah.
it's stupid that they don't use the Force there, and he's referencing the fact that Kylo nearly gets strangled, and, like, it's like, why don't you just use the force on the guy who's strangling him. It's kind of weird. Like he's not even in trouble, but Ray saves him. That's the way it goes, I guess.
Right.
So there's, like I said, a clip where if you cut it out, you can get Rags saying it's stupid that they don't use the force in this fight. And so Quentin plays that clip, and then he responds to it saying, like, Rags thinks it's stupid that Luke and Kylo don't use the force in their final fight, even though... And he starts going off on all these reasons why they shouldn't. And then, like, the history of Star Wars and stuff. And again, we were just like... it was so funny. You can watch it live. Me and Rags were like... I think I said to Rags, like, I think I agree with Quentin on this one, Rags. Like, I don't know if they should have used the force at the end fight.
Yeah, and then I was like, that wasn't the point I would... Because it had been months since I'd made this video. So I was... A lot of it is operating on memory. But, like, that doesn't sound like something I would say, and I don't remember ever saying that in a fight where Luke is only there because of the Force.
He's a Force projection.
Yeah, I doubt that I would say there's a lack of Force powers here. And so sure enough, we asked the chat because we were confused.
Yeah, we got a timestamp from chat and we checked it out and we were like, yeah, this is like literally on either end of what Rags says implies it's about the throne room.
So he took a sentence from your argument and applied it to a completely different argument that nobody made.
Yeah.
Yes.
A selection of a quote I used was taken out of context and put into somebody else's response to that, Quentin's, and then he just ran with that to the end of some rail that we had no idea about. A complete and total mix of straw manning and taking things out of context. It was a mess, and we were confused for a bit because you kind of had to sort out the layers of dishonesty that went into it.
Well,
and
here's
poor TRO. We told him all this, and he was like, that's bad. That should have happened. And we were like, he lied. He lied to us. He's lied to his audience. He lied to you. And then TRO was like, he wouldn't lie.
Well, yeah, I'll bring this up. Emperor Lemon, who was in the Quentin podcast, but he's not here tonight, he seems to be under the impression that Quentin isn't a malicious liar, if just incompetent and sometimes stupid. Do you think that this was just a stupid mistake, or do you think he is malicious?
I am fully under the impression, especially looking back at it now with everything that's happened between now and then, that this was absolutely a malicious attack.
Like, how incompetent do you have to be to take a sentence and just apply it to a completely different scene?
Well,
or to listen to Rags go, I think it would have been better if they did matter to the plot, and then go, what? You think movies are objectively without value if they sell toys? You're like,
right.
Do you think that he has this point that he wants to argue in his head, and perhaps he's tricking himself?
He's desperate. Like, I want to talk about this, so we must talk about this one other unrelated thing, regardless of what the other person's talking about.
Well, he's clearly really good at that, because he'll be reviewing a Logan Paul movie and then go off about Trump. Like, he can plug in whatever opinions he has into completely unrelated material.
I like that he was like, it was relevant. I like that he actually tried to argue it was relevant, because Trump was, it was like related to the movie. And it's like, how you personally feel about Trump for 40 seconds is not relevant to the movie.
No.
Well, these are the I don't agree with this nonsense that all art is political. I don't buy that.
And I think no, yeah, of course not.
Yeah, I mean, Rusty, you're a musician. Is all of your music political, Rusty?
No, and if it was, that'd be really fucking lame. No one would want to listen to it.
Yeah, well, that's just what a Nazi would say. So I don't know why I would listen to you anyway. But he's what I'm certain that Quentin, he's like the H-bomber guys and all that, all these lefties, and all art's political, and so they use that to. So when they want to talk about politics in these discussions, they'll use that as an excuse, because they'll say all art's political. You just didn't notice it before because either the politics are ones you agreed with, or they'll find some way to take some aspect or element of a work of art, be it a movie or a song or anything, and try to pull from it, twist, squeezy out a drop of how it could relate to politics in some way and say, see, this is political. This is inherently something political.
It does seem like kind of a fun brain exercise. I kind of want to start a game show with these people where I just name a movie or something, and then they have to tell me the political, like Inception. What political party should I vote for based off of Inception? And then
Communism,
see what, like I want to see what they would say.
We're all the same in dreams.
In dreams, anything is possible. We work together. Yeah, I just want to say though, Right Opinion did genuinely come on, and for a good hour and I think 20 minutes, he put up with all of our complaints, which I don't remember him really disagreeing with many of them. Like he looked back on the video and was like, it wasn't very good.
I
But
think he was sort of like almost because we put him on the spot a bit. He didn't prepare.
Right.
No, I did. I gave
and-
him a full week and a bit to prepare. I gave him all the links and the timestamps he needed, and he said he didn't check any of them out. I was like, okay.
Oh, okay, then this will work out well for you.
Like,
Well, then
That's
that's
all I
his
could
fault
do.
for coming on unprepared if you're putting him on the spot like that. But yeah, good for him for actually going
yeah,
on
and he didn't.
taking
He
your
didn't
shit.
do like he didn't do what Quentin does. He was literally just like, yeah, that's bad. That shouldn't have happened. That should have been corrected. This is a bad thing. Blah blah blah. And he there was this moment where he was like, Quentin wouldn't do that. Like the things you say, and he wouldn't do it maliciously because Quentin's like not that kind of guy. Like he wouldn't. That's not what he would do. I mean, Rags just said they're like, oh man.
Like he literally did this thing, and it's on tape, and
It's-
thousands of people watched us respond to it live.
You
and
could
these
tell
videos
they're
exist.
friends, and we were just sitting there like watching him try to sort of reconcile the friendship versus what he's actually done right in front of him, and not help TRO's reputation, obviously, because that's his video. If you look at the comments, it's just loads of paragraphs about how me and Rags are just like terrible at making
Terrible,
content.
horrible, awful people.
My God, I didn't realize there was
People
so
say,
much
"I wanna fucking-
controversy.
I want
Yeah,
to
Star
Star
Wars.
Rags. I want to
There-
beat
there
the
was a
shit out
top
of
comment about-
Rags.
yeah, there's one about punching Rags in the face. It was like, okay.
I was like, all right, fuck, I didn't like your movie. God damn.
So
And it's just awkward because it's like, oh, that's good. It comes from a video that's literally lying, but
did
No,
Quentin
well,
respond to this podcast?
Fuck no.
no, you would prefer it doesn't. Well, actually, we'll get to that. The one last thing that's interesting is I make like a 10-minute case in my 3-parter for TLJ about how the themes are broken within the narrative. Like what the film tells you in terms of lessons is at odds with what the characters actually choose to do in the film. And so I go through it all, and then I'm like, but if you still love the theme and you still think the theme is absolutely present, then that shit's subjective at that point because all the mechanical elements of it are at odds with each other. And Quentin took my like final sentence about all of that, and he was like, so Mauler thinks that themes in movies are completely subjective. I was just like, and me and Rags were just going through this like, that's not what the point was
Like
at all.
every
It's like-
every time Quentin was in that video, it was a misrepresentation of what we said, or it took it off into another direction. It was legit. It was kind of impressive.
It seems like he's
so-
just living in his own head then.
little bit. Once the podcast was done, and like TRO is still absolutely friendly with me and Rags, we're gonna try and have
Oh
him
yeah,
on
he's a
again
fine guy.
sometime.
I messaged him the other day because he had problems with video and YouTube and stuff. So
Mm.
I'm fine with
Um,
TRO. Yeah, I'm sure he'll be
so-
on EFAP again. I hope. sometime.
Podcast was over, everything was great, and then we checked Twitter, and me and Rags were both banned, blocked by Quentin.
Yeah,
Oh, of
Quentin
course.
blocked us both. And
didn't-
that hadn't been the first time, or other people had been blocked by Quentin after coming onto E EFAP.
Yes, the latest guest we had has also been blocked by Quentin now, and we
Well,
don't.
that's a
know if
great
it's
way. If you don't want to hear criticism, you can just block people and then you don't have
That's
to.
true.
Rusty, have you been blocked by Quentin yet?
I don't know. Let me check right now.
Yeah, like legitimately check because he might.
He
Like, actually check.
they talked about this in the other podcast, but he posted that tweet, celebrating that my channel was terminated, and then right after he posted it, he blocked me.
Oh, fuck you, asshole!
Like you talk shit about me and then block me, so what? So I don't see it, or what are you doing?
Mock and block, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not blocked.
Oh, really? Well,
Wow.
we'll take care of that.
Yeah. After this
Interesting.
podcast, you will be.
interesting
Certainly.
tidbit though, and this is something that TRO said on our podcast, is that he did get a message from Quentin saying he did kind of fuck up in the video that he made with TRO. He just never
Okay.
said that publicly, and he didn't say it to us, even though we're the offended party. It's like,
Yeah, like, don't
you
tell.
say
Yeah,
something to
don't-
us.
yeah, don't tell us or anything.
This is the thing. Since the beginning, we've offered to talk to Quentin and to smooth it out. I said to TRO to send him, like, for the first few months before we even covered the video, I told TRO to send him a message saying I'm more than friendly. TRO is the proof, and that I'll talk about this, and then we can just get it smoothed over, because clearly my ideas on art are different to yours. And his response was that TRO said that Quentin didn't want to talk to me because he didn't want to start YouTube drama.
Well, a little bit. I mean, a little bit. This kind of sounds like somewhat petty drama. I mean, it's misrepresenting.
I
a-
was suggesting that we get rid of the potential drama by talking.
right.
Yeah, I think it just
I mean,
makes Quentin look like a
drama-
huge coward who will lie publicly about somebody, verifiably so, and then like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to address it. I don't want to talk to them.
Well, to me, right, there's not like I've been sent responses to my videos before. They're almost, I don't want to toot my own horn, but they're all pretty shit. And the right opinion one I think is the biggest one, and it is awful.
Yeah.
But a lot of people took it and ran with it. And
Yeah, it's like a
it
lightning rod for people who hate
represented-
Rags and me.
Yeah, and it represented probably the single biggest hit to my, I guess, reputation, you could say. And it's all pretty much based off of straw men and misrepresentation, because we went through 11 hours of defending it pretty much sentence by sentence, and I stand by everything I said. And I
couldn't even
believe I
finish it.
backed up everything that I did say.
In the
Yeah, no,
world of Star Wars analysis, this is slander against Drags'
I
good
mean,
name. It really
can,
is.
Like I admit it can sound a bit silly, but the fact is, like, what are me and Rags gonna get listened to if not for our credibility? Like, if you find out we've lied about a whole bunch of things or people we responded to, then our credibility sinks. So obviously we have to account for it.
Well, yeah,
Right,
and
'cause
I
it
don't
only
even.
takes-
Slander,
Well,
it's the colloquial usage of the word slander, kind of.
Well, I
It's
was
like-
gonna say that this is like a business. People say, YouTube drama is petty, but this is how all of us earn our livings. We make money from, talking shit about the new Star Wars movie. So when somebody blatantly lies about your professional career in a way that can harm you possibly financially, I wouldn't take that lightly either. I'd say, bitch, get on a podcast. Let's talk this out.
Yeah, that's why we were saying, like, come on, and let's talk, let's have a chat. We'll let the whole world know we're ready. We'll defend this.
It'd be like if you were
stand
in an
firm.
office and you said that your office mate was throwing away tax files or something. Like, it's a blatant lie that affects your
Yeah.
career.
Yeah,
Right, and it only takes that one seed being planted that you guys are illegitimate when it comes to reviewing content or whatever, and then they're gonna have to eat through an 11-hour series of podcasts to hear yourself when really you shouldn't have to do that in the first place because it was false.
The
Yeah.
process, I suppose you could say, is like before we did it, we kept getting sent the video being like, "You guys gonna respond to this, or you running away from it, you ignoring it?" And now because of what we've done, whoever sends that, people get sent our response, and it's just like, there we go, leak plugged, if you will.
Yeah, pretty much. At least, we have something to send them, because at the
And
time
the fact that
I
we've-
was in between homes and stuff like that, moving work, stuff like that.
And then for us to get
but-
the author to confirm our criticisms, it's like,
Right.
I think we're good. There's
yeah, I
nothing more
have
we can
no
do.
doubt in my mind that we had a very substantive response in defense of the things that we've said.
And yeah, and then Quentin lost his mind after that. So,
Well, I
But
think
what a lot of people don't understand, I guess, because they're not in the position to really know. But when you have a YouTube channel, especially one that makes you your living and your money, it's essentially kind of like operating a brand and an image.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
a lot of your success, be it through your audience size and their trust in you, as well as just the financial side of it, relies on people's perception of you, your trustworthiness, your character. That's the biggest factor for me when I decide to give someone money on Patreon or whatever. Is this a good guy? Do they have a good personality? Are they nice? They're not like scummy. That's the big thing.
Now, have you seen any issues with maybe crossover audiences between your guys's and Quentin's, and perhaps them turning on you?
at first, there was like a couple of comments that were like, "Oh, did Rags actually like really take everything out of context like that badly?" But after we had done everything, we started getting comments like, "Man, I used to be a fan of Quentin," and it's like, "Oh, like, there's
yeah.
nothing we can do."
I've been getting a
That-
lot of those
popped
too.
up a lot. I see a lot of anti-Quentin videos popping up on YouTube.
Oh yeah, that's like a genre right now.
Yeah,
Comment
it's
on the
that time of the
state
season.
with him on. Like, Jesus Christ.
Say that again.
Getting chewed up, eaten alive.
I'm sorry, I was talking over you. I was cutting out.
Yeah, I think Rusty, you're cutting out a little bit.
Yeah, disconnect
Mm.
and reconnect. Maybe that'll
Yeah.
Go away.
Yeah, just don't come back.
turn it off and on again.
Well, if you guys
Alright.
have any final points on Quentin, there are a few other things that came up in this discussion that I want to pivot to. So if you have any
Yeah, sure.
final Quentin points,
Other
than that, he's a delightful man who should never shave.
well, there was a couple. I was
Well,
gonna say, I don't know if this.
because it's a compensation beard. You know what he'd look like if he didn't have that beard on.
Yeah. I'm surprised with all the soylent in his diet that he can still grow so much facial hair.
I don't know. I always keep a clean shaven face.
I left a comment on your video with him with a quote that he has right at the beginning. He says, "I've seen people go on podcasts and do really bad," and I was wondering if he was referencing the right opinion coming
Oh.
onto our podcast. I don't know for sure. I just thought that if he was, that's just so cruel.
Ironically, he was
Especially
referencing
when-
himself.
Yeah, he was predicting
Oh.
the future.
Yeah, and
Maybe.
Nostradamus.
That does seem like the thing Quentin would do. Is like the right opinion at least had the gumption to come to us live on this podcast and talk about this video, and Quentin couldn't be fucked and let his buddy try to defend his name and his lies by himself, admittedly outnumbered 2-1. But
Yeah.
that's kind of rough.
And like I'm surprised you guys. I don't know if you caught it or not, but when he said something like he's talking about Mumkey, and he said he goes on podcasts and talks about me like I'm not real, like I'm not a guy.
Yeah,
Like-
that was like a big thing that stood out.
Did you tie that to the
Ben
to
Shapiro thing?
Shapiro quote? Yes.
Yeah, he unpersoned Ben Shapiro real fast on that tweet.
Oh, it's like, does he not get it at all?
Yeah, right. Because that was everything he was doing. He'd call someone out for something, say that they're bad for doing this, and then he'll do the exact same thing. But it's different. He plays by different rules, I guess. He's not held to the same
Well,
standard.
and I think in this
Well, yeah,
culture
that's
war,
right,
they
that's
don't.
Yeah, that is it.
In the
Hmm.
culture war that they're waging, I think that they honestly believe that if you have a certain opinion, you are not a human. And Quentin's like, well, I'm clearly a human, so why is Mumkey NPCing me?
Right. But yeah, but fuck Ben Shapiro. He shouldn't be given any sort of credibility at all.
Yeah, I think that was something you were trying to get him to grasp, right? Is like no matter what he thinks of Ben Shapiro's politics, someone else can think that of Quentin's. But he's like, no, but mine's true. Ben Shapiro is hateful, and you're like, Quentin, you're not getting it. Like
Oh,
someone can just
God.
say that about you, and he's like, yeah,
Yeah.
but no, but I'm right on this.
Yeah, they walk into the discussion with the axiomatic assumption, just a given that I am correct, and that goes without saying. It's obvious, it's true, it has to be true, and then everything else is built up on top of that.
Yeah, I mean he's for trans rights, and Ben Shapiro is not necessarily,
Yeah.
or has
And-
opinions to the contrary.
I think Emp Lemon had a sort of like roundabout way of explaining it, but I still found it hilarious when he tries to explain this, what we're talking about, the whole like different views, different values, different everything. And like Quentin like is silent for a minute and he just goes, I don't even understand what
yeah.
you're saying right now.
Yeah, well, okay. Yeah, there really was there was a lot of things kind of going on. I mean, we had
Yeah.
a internet historian in there, but his audio didn't make it through. So it really was roundabout, and I think it was just a little bit too drawn out to be a solidified point that Emperor was trying to make. Yeah,
It's like
that
you
was
shouldn't
pretty funny.
have to like how hard should you have to be in order to how hard should it have to be to explain to a supposed adult that not everybody thinks like you?
Yeah,
And you were
sometimes
doing
people have different.
Yeah, you are going to have to make convincing and compelling arguments to this is YouTube, so most people, quite frankly, that your way's the right way.
I don't get it.
And the
Oh.
only other thing is I noticed because LS Mark was in the comment section. I'd actually seen his videos on Quentin. He wanted you to bring up the whole like it's too late now. So because Quentin, I doubt Quentin will
I've
come
got
back.
the comment
but,
up right now.
but he said to address the Twitter response. So like as we just said, like there's a genre of people responding to Quentin, and his response was like, all they have to say is I'm an NPC SJW. They hate that I'm a liberal. And he even put that in the comments for the podcast, I think. And
Oh.
he called the people responding to him little guppies. Like, did you see that?
No, I haven't read
he
through
was-
those comments
He
in
was
a while.
like, I've been warned there are sharks coming after me, but it turns out they're little guppies.
Wow.
It's the most like, wow,
It's like,
you're so far up your
uh,
own ass.
That's like a villain in a kids show
Yeah.
would say that. It's like kids would understand this.
And yeah, and he didn't address any of the comments, any of the criticisms. And I know you might be like, well, it's tough to do that when there's a lot of people after you. But it's like, oh yeah, but a lot of them were saying similar things. You can do just like a
You
sort of
get the
general statement,
vibe,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need to say they all hate me because I'm an SJW. Apparently, it's like that's.
Yeah, it was a lot of missing the point. It was just that they wanted to attack him because I don't know, because it's the thing to do. Which It does seem like that a little bit. I mean, you see all these videos popping up because once people smell the blood in the water,
Yeah.
they gotta
The little
jump on the
guppies come
bandwagon.
swimming.
I don't know. I think that when somebody who continually fucks up like Quentin, I mean, I think it's a natural result that people are gonna see him and be like, "Whoa, this is fucked up. I'm gonna say something about it."
Right, and
Um,
he is putting himself out there. It's not like
Well, yeah.
they found something in his video that was real minor and decided to attack it. I mean, he's blatantly saying all this stuff, and he's pretty much shouting it out on Twitter and in other parts of his videos. Yeah, it's like you're gonna get criticism. People are gonna have something to say about it.
and he like ignores or blocks it until he can't, until there's too many people saying it, and he's like, okay, I'll address it, and it's like, oh, so dishonest.
Yeah, I think
So
if
the-
your Twitter block, like the number of people you blocked is higher than the number of people following you, you might have a problem.
All right.
In the last month, he has lost 2,424 subscribers.
Well, I mean,
No,
my-
not-
I've
not
got
as
him
bad
beat.
as-
I lost 300,000 subscribers last month.
That's got to be a record.
Yeah. Quentin, if you're listening, or if your guppies are listening on your behalf, let me say, either go on a podcast with these guys so that we can clear the air, or if you need a safe space, me and Rusty will sit out. You can come back on here, and I'm sure Emp Lemon will softball you again with these two, and maybe we can get this cleared up. You don't have to worry about me and Rusty making fun of you. How does that
He
sound?
he couldn't handle our tweets. Do you think he can handle live discussion?
I'm surprised he even came on our show at all. So who knows? Maybe.
Yeah,
That's true,
I
actually.
was surprised by that. Just the fact that he even heard anything that we'd said about him on an earlier episode.
Well, we had a whole episode.
I think-
the thumbnail was me shooting a gun, like trying to kill him. So I mean,
Oh
It's
yeah,
pretty
yeah, that's
blatant.
true.
had to. This one was like beyond the pale in terms of like when people were seeing that he had made fun of you for getting your channel shut down. It was like, oh, this is you're bordering onto like the majority of YouTube are gonna have a problem with this.
Right,
Which-
right, and it was huge when that tweet came out because he said he deleted it after
like a
a minute and
yeah.
it had 5 likes, but
Yeah,
instantly I was seeing it sent to me from several different sources. So people took it.
He told you he was like, I didn't need to be told it was bad. I took it down. It's like you put it up.
I know.
You decided it would be a good idea. You put a fucking image
Oh,
on there.
Christ.
Like you
It's
thought
like
it.
shooting
you
someone in
thought
the
it-
head and being like, you know what? I shouldn't have done.
Well,
Yeah,
But I
you
admit it.
thought about
I
it.
shouldn't have
Like,
done
If
that.
I can
put out the
respond,
picture, you posted it.
if I can respond to his, he did apologize on the podcast that I wasn't there for. I'll say I never really cared in the first place, Quentin. I did call you a fat cuck. I did call you all those things. So I can.
He is a fat cunt.
Yeah,
though.
so like the fact that you wanted to retaliate and kick me while I was down, I don't give a fuck. I don't care what you tweet, other than like when it's fun to like if you're tweeting about me, I don't care. When you're tweeting about a big idea, it's more fun to make fun of it.
Well,
And as far as
thing
the
is,
apology,
difference is that it says more. It's not that it's like an offense thing. It's like it is a direct revelation of the character that he has.
yeah, I guess you could say that. I personally really didn't care at all. And as far as your apology goes, I truly hate apologies. So
Yeah.
you can take it back. It's not that I don't accept it; it's that I don't want it. I don't care.
Yeah, it's super fun to have a beef anyways.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
someone half-heartedly admitting and bending the knee to the criticism coming at him rather than to you.
Your mic's
monkey.
all over the place.
Yeah,
mate.
you're really robotic right now.
Ah, shit.
But Quentin, I
I'll
know
be back.
in the lefty circles, apologies mean everything to me. I don't care about apologies.
I mean, do they? Usually apologies
Yeah,
are bad.
I'm
like-
I'm one to even think that you should never apologize.
That's how I
They'll-
feel too. Never apologize.
They'll jump on that. Once you admit guilt, they'll be doubling up on that.
Yeah.
They'll hit you a second time. See, we were right. He isn't.
Apologize
He
again.
is a transphobe. He is a homophobe.
All right, if we're done with Quentin, and now that Rusty's gone and trying to come back, you guys might have answered something like this a million times before, but I really wanted to probe your brains real quick. Because I think, based on the videos I've watched from you two, you are the experts on what went wrong with the new Star Wars trilogy. So I would like to know,
Technically.
if hypothetically this happened, they said, hey, you guys know what's wrong. Can you guys fix episode 9? What would you want the story and the characters and all that to be in episode 9 to fix the tragedy that is the sequel trilogy?
Do we get complete freedom?
I would imagine so, yeah.
I'm-
We enter into a time vortex and go back
I-
40 years.
Not even kidding. I would
Like-
retcon episodes 7 and 8. I would just
Yeah,
straight
I
up
would do
retcon
that.
them.
If it was possible, I would do that.
You don't think there's any possible way with the way that they've configured the pieces on the board that you can still win the game?
I think I'd need 2 films to fix the other 2. I'd need loads of time to like try to count for everything. Luke would have to be an evil clone or some shit.
Yeah, they accidentally stumbled into the Negaverse or something. But is it really, how do you fix Luke? How do you fix Han? How do you fix Chewie? You know, all this stuff. How do you can't take it back.
I think it'll be so forced to just throw in all this exposition. It's like, oh yeah, none of those were the real ones. They're all fine. Just don't
Yeah,
worry
the meme
about
that I
it.
keep seeing is that the title crawl at the beginning just starts off with "It was all a dream" and then continues.
The
from
title
there.
crawl, well, shit.
Just
It's funny
kidding.
because people are upset at the prequels, obviously, because they sort of ruin the bits of the Force, bits of Jedi for people and everything else. But they didn't touch Luke, Han, and Leia. They left them alone because they couldn't possibly touch them because it's based before them. Best they can do is have them as babies, which they do, but that's not going to ruin to know that they were babies once. But to take that moment where you're like, the end of the trilogy, everybody wins, everyone's safe, everyone's alive, woohoo, and then it's like, nope.
Nope. No,
Wait, what?
we are right back at square one. Within the
And not only that-
lifetimes of all these characters.
Deadbeat dad who's depressed, fucking dies. Leia incompetent, flying through space. Luke who's just not even Luke. You're just like, why do you hate Star Wars? Why did you do this?
Do you think
I
that
mean,
if
I would kind of prefer if they just said episode 6, we're done. 1,000 years in the future is when we pick up.
well,
Yeah, I'd be on board with
yeah, I
that.
was gonna say if Ryan Johnson does potentially get his own trilogy where he can make up his own story with completely original characters, would you be interested in that because it doesn't affect the past of
I
what
will
we know?
almost literally take anything else.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
people
it's
say like,
kinda
would you
lame.
prefer George Lucas to have made episodes 7 and 8? I'm just like, easy, yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Well,
yes.
yeah, but I'm saying like, would you watch Ryan Johnson's original trilogy based on
I
episode 8?
think it should be better because he's not damaging pre-established stuff at that
Right.
point, right? He's making
Yeah, at least he's fucking up his own shit.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked the directing in the movie. I don't think he's that great of a writer. Like people always say, but
Yeah.
he's objectively good. He did Ozymandias in Breaking Bad. Yeah, but he didn't write that.
He didn't write it.
He
yeah.
didn't
This-
fucking
and this is
write
thing,
the
if you
greatest
watch-
episode.
If you watch the episode, there is lots of good direction in it, and it's like, yeah, I actually do think The Last Jedi has loads of gorgeous cinematography and choices for direction. I guess
Right.
it's just the keep him away from the script. Holy shit!
Yeah.
And his attitude really puts me off as well. Like the way he's handled all of this and the way that he's responded. Like he is a petulant little child.
Well, that might tie into the theory that both I think you guys and Red Letter Media addressed that he's been trolling us from the very beginning, and I really want to believe that because if so, it's very very funny. Look at all the
The idea that
damage
he
he
hates
caused.
Star Wars
One
and
man.
Yeah.
He's just
well,
the world's biggest shitlord.
the idea that it's like if you were going to destroy Star Wars, but you didn't want people to tell that straight up, it's like this is kind of how you would do it.
Exactly.
Like you'd be like, yeah, I totally made a Star Wars film, and you got people even some people love it. Like, they're like, "All right,
Yeah.
this is working really well.
He made it as bad as he could, and people are defending it.
I think I don't think you can make a Star Wars movie that people wouldn't defend. Like that's how crazy that
Right,
franchise
yeah.
is. And you could say the same for me. You'd be like, oh well, there's no film that you won't hate now because you're so in love with the OT. And I'd be like, oh well, I enjoyed Rogue One. You know, I thought actually The Force Awakens was fun until I started to think about it.
At least Rogue One, it was the most harmless of them.
Yeah, harmless.
I guess you could say it didn't fuck up a lot of like other things that we really enjoyed.
A lot of it was still boring though.
Yes, and I didn't care about anybody.
Yeah,
I was
Except the
happy they
robot.
died. Yes, except the robot.
I legit was sad in the cinema when the robot died. I was like, oh man.
You see, we're 1 for 2 with new introduced quirky robot characters.
Oh, you didn't like the feminist robot in Solo?
Oh, okay, so Mahler and I have a little bit of a disagreement. We can't decide if she's a parody or not.
Yeah, I thought it was satire.
I thought she kind of was.
I'm the only reason I'm not on board with that is because of the death scene. They sell that so like seriously.
Yeah, it's oh.
They're like,
Oh,
if you don't
wow.
cry along with Lando here, then you have no heart, sort of thing. And I'm just like, is this a joke?
Well, it might be that Lord and Miller intended it to be a satire, and then when it got handed
Yeah.
over, they like had to make it more serious.
That is a strong theory. I think
Yeah.
would explain it.
Rusty, what do you think of the new Star Wars movies?
I'm glad that they're making the last one.
Nope.
It's,
You think it'll stop with 9?
yeah, I don't know. They're just not. I mean, a couple of them I liked. I liked the what was it, like the prequel, Rogue One, I think.
Yeah, we were
I think
just
it's
talking
Rogue
about that.
Yeah, I like that one, but I didn't like whatever the last one was. That was absolute shit. And I
Solo?
saw it
Solo.
twice.
You saw
You
Solo
didn't?
twice.
No, I didn't see Solo. Fuck that.
Oh.
Episode 8, you mean?
Yeah,
Last Jedi.
yeah.
Episode H.
Yeah.
You should watch Solo. They fight an Elder God in the middle of space and throw it down a black hole.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like a Cthulhu monster.
It's actually
You'd like
just
it.
worth watching.
It's like a fucking Cthulhu monster.
Look at the clip on YouTube. You'll just be like, how the fuck does this happen?
It's
What
kind
is the
of- it's kind
context
of-
for this?
Awful. The movie's kind of awful.
A little bit.
If you could see it for free, then you should.
I said
I mean, the
it-
fact I've seen all these recent ones, like all of these new Star Wars movies coming out, except for Solo, and I can't remember what happens in any of them because I just store none of it to memory. Like the last one was just so bad that it's like, fuck, I don't even know what they're trying to, what the takeaway was supposed to be.
Yeah, and it's hard because there's
biggest
a new
thing that
Star
I
Wars
hear-
movie every single year, rather than back in the
Well-
day it was like 3 movies every generation. So there's less to really pay attention to.
Yeah.
because
Digest.
there's too much
And-
shit.
And Bob Iger said they need to slow them down now, and I just find it amusing because people are like, yeah, you see, there's a Star Wars fatigue. You can't have too many. And it's like, look at the MCU. They're doing fine.
Yeah, 3 movies a
They're doing
year.
4. I think it's up to 4 now.
Yeah, but they're good.
Because we got Captain Marvel, Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man Far From Home, and I want to say Doctor Strange 2 potentially for next year at least. So
Well, I'm glad
Yeah,
we
and it's
brought
just
this
like-
up because I also wanted to probe your minds on your expectations and predictions for Endgame, if you have any, because I know you guys are also big Marvel guys.
I want it
Well,
to
I
be
haven't
good.
watched any of the trailers. I want to go into it
Ooh,
cold.
okay.
I want it to be good. I'm concerned that it'll be bad.
Why do you think it
Uh,
might be bad?
There's so much riding on it, like in terms of getting. As far as I know, we're led to believe here that this could be the last movie for a lot of characters. So, if you're going to take some of my favorites and end their stories, you better end them strongly. Or there's a couple things.
Nope,
in
they're
this
just
whole time.
snapped out of existence. That's it. They're not coming back. Everyone else is gonna die.
And like I don't think I'm too hard to please for Marvel because I like my superhero stuff. But I mean, I'm just concerned.
Well, it
I'm
took
always
us a
concerned.
long time to get here for some of these characters.
Yeah, please just do it okay the way that you do it. That's what I want. Just don't fuck it up.
Well, I mean, you think about like Black Panther, right? Like he made a shit ton of money for whatever reason, and there's no way they're gonna get rid of him that quick. There's no
Oh,
way.
of course.
There's no way. Is like
I'm thinking the original Avengers are going to get booted out. All the ones who got dusted are coming back. I think.
I think so too. They're gonna find some way to reverse it, go back in time, reset something.
Well, why don't they get Superman to fly around the Earth and then turn time back?
Yeah.
I mean, I was about to
um,
say because he's in the DCU, but no, he left that too now.
Oh,
So.
shit.
The Captain Marvel thing worries me because
Oh,
I
yeah.
have seen the trailers for that, and I just couldn't be fucked to give a rat's ass.
Now, are you
about it.
prepared to be called a sexist because this movie that might not be good features a woman?
Do you know what happened when I covered Black Panther negatively?
Uh-oh.
I got a shit ton of racist comments.
Of
and I
course.
was like, I didn't even mention race, but okay.
So you weren't saying that this movie sucks because of all the black people?
No,
Because that's what
weirdly, I
Rusty
didn't say
said.
that. But the best one we covered it on EFAB. There's a comment that said like Mola hates any films with female or minority protagonists. I was just
Oh
like,
my
what? Because I don't like Black Panther and TLJ.
Yeah, you're not allowed to have negative opinions about things that are the poster children of ideology.
I mean, movies that star white people can be terrible.
Yeah, look
but
at Quentin
movies
reviews.
that have women and minorities, they cannot be bad.
That's
Right.
That's fair.
Because the only reason why people hate the last Star Wars, not Solo or whatever, was the only reason why we hate it is because we hate women being powerful.
That was Macintosh's take. He said people hated
Yeah.
it because it was a film about women sharing their ideas and men needed to listen to them.
Well, you know what? That's also why I didn't like it. I wanted to see a fucking Star Wars movie, not fucking women sharing their ideas.
Well, those
It's a
ideas worked out
strange-
really well. That's a Strong point for feminism.
If you remember, they started with 400 people in the resistance, and they end the film with like 20, if that.
yeah.
Yeah, everyone just left.
They
They're
did
like, we're
great.
gonna start a new resistance.
they're all
Yeah, it's like,
dead.
if the point here is that
Oh
women
yeah,
should
yeah, that's
listen
right.
to,
Holdo did all right. His plan was okay. Not everyone
it was
died.
great. Yeah. Some people fucked up and lived, so
All right, boys, we covered everything that I had on my plate today. Rusty, is there anything else that you think we should do while we're here?
I can't think of anything.
Well, if you guys want to plug your shit, please plug away. Just hope that your channels aren't deleted, because it turns out they can just be deleted overnight. So hopefully by the time this
I
goes up.
love YouTube and everybody who works there, especially Susan White. I love them all.
Do you want to go first, Drax?
Oh, I'm working on a video that should be out within the next few days. I'm wrapping that up here. Just been a long haul, but Rags is my channel, and in order to counter Quentin Reviews being on State of the YouTube, subscribe to PewDiePie twice if you can.
And then I just do in-depth video game / movie analysis. That's what I would call it. But like in-depth to the point of absurdity. Even though like my new series is going to be between 15 and 16 hours, and it's just about one film, but it's
Oh my
huge for a
God.
reason, and it's fully edited. It's not just a ramble. So give it a shot if you think you might be enticed by putting it on the background while you play video games or whatever. And then, of course, I may as well say that
Yep.
me, Rags, and Wolf do a podcast semi-regularly called Every Frame a Pause, where we basically watch video essays live and comment. And episodes 8, 9, and 10 are the Quentin ones. So if you have a spare 16 hours or so, just throw them on.
Who the
And
fuck
once you're
listens
done
to
with those
podcasts?
16 hours, Mahler will have 16 more hours for you.
How long does it take you to edit something like that?
Or even to write the
Fucking
script on
ages.
a 3-hour part of a video.
I've been doing this series. I started writing it in like I want to say August,
Oh my god.
and I've only released part 1, and I'm still working on part 2 now. But there's still another 4 parts after that, and they're all over 2 hours and 20 minutes at least. They're all over there.
Is each one going to take, about half a year to write and edit?
I'm hoping the editing's speeding up. Part 1 was the hardest because I needed to get all my sources and all the references all in order. It was the hardest to structure, but the rest of them are mainly about the movie. So
Yeah, gathering
smoother.
footage is the big slowdown.
Yeah. Well,
you gotta
you know,
find it.
attaching a
download it,
reaction to every line is tough.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Get it all lined up. That's the real bugbear.
Well, thanks
Oh,
to
that's
both of you
impressive.
guys for hopping on our show, and hopefully Quentin wants to come back and talk to you guys, or even go on your show and talk to you guys. I really hope that this gets resolved, because I want to hear what he was thinking when he took you guys blatantly out of context and showed it to hundreds of thousands of people.
And we would be nice. We promise, Quentin, we'll be nice. Okay, we won't say a mean thing to you.
No, we won't call you a fat cuck, I swear. We'll say that you're a very slim bull.
A slim bull.
Yeah.
A slim bull.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We will see you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.